Hey guys, my name's Charlie Wackley.
And I'm Kate Wackley.
And we're Scientologists, and we're going to talk about our first date, or how to start any successful relationship, or how to know if you're picking the right partner, or
what do you want out of a relationship so that you get it right?
Basically, everything you need to know to start a relationship.
Because we know
with the right
everything.
person.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, does that sound really arrogant?
It sounded like, we've got the perfect relationship.
We've been married for all of 7 years.
Yeah.
No, I mean, to be honest, I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant. We don't have kids. We've been married for 7 years, been together probably 9 years.
Yeah.
But I do think we have a really good relationship.
Yeah, I think it's up there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we're not 50 years on, but it's pretty good.
Now, what's interesting about this, right, is people often talk about love at first sight and the first date and the flirting and da-da-da-da-da. And actually, our relationship was based on something way more...
It was very PG.
Yeah, way more PG.
It was
way more logical.
So boring.
Yeah, but it's
not
funny because, I think this is what gets overlooked. It's all about the drama and the emotion. Yeah. And in actual fact, if you sat and did what we're about to tell you, you'd have a lot more success, I think.
Yeah, and in the end, you have a lot more fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot better.
So it's based on a condition formula, which means basically a step-by-step, very simple practical procedure that we have in Scientology called the non-existence formula. So I've got it right here, and I'm going to read you through the steps. And then we can talk about exactly how we did it, right?
Yeah.
So it gives you 4 steps. It says, 1, find a communication line. So that would mean a communication line is just like a contact point.
Yeah.
Right? So me and you talking, if I say, hey, Kate, my name's Charlie. Or no, hey, hey,
hey, how are
you? This would be in the cheesy version would be all those one-line pickup lines.
Yes. Pick your person.
What was it? Could you walk past again? Because I don't believe in love at first sight. Or something
Well, there's one
Did you fall from heaven?
Did you fall from heaven? Because.
Is your dad an angel? No.
No.
Anyway. Our relationship definitely
really
didn't start like that. So find a communication line. Make yourself known. So again, that would be some kind of introduction, right? So my name's Charlie. I'm a student at this university studying blah. Or I can't remember in my case. My name's Charlie. I'm 22 years old. And I work at the Church Scientology in London. Or whatever.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So
I think, but also that can be if maybe you know someone for a long time and then the dynamic just shifts a bit and you're like, actually, that could be more of a relationship. Then making yourself known would be slightly different because you already know each other.
You mean going from a friendship to a romantic relationship, or maybe a work colleague to that?
Yeah, making yourself known might be a bit more let's go on a date rather than just your normal banter or whatever.
Yeah. Then step 3, discover what is needed or wanted. So, I think the first 2 steps are pretty straightforward, right? This 3rd step and doing it thoroughly, I would say is was the key, the foundation to our relationship.
So important for people.
Did we do this before we started dating?
We were a bit funny because we'd both been studying a lot of this stuff because we'd had many relationships and...
Many?
Well, we had quite a few. Or longer.
Speak for yourself.
No, it wasn't that many. I think relative to some people these days, I'm I cannot even keep up. But
we'd had a couple of bad relationships.
And then some that hadn't gone quite right. So we'd gone, this is what we do. We work on ourselves. We work on different parts of our life. So we spent some time, ironically, both of us completely separately, studying all these things. And so I remember when it changed from being people who work together to we had a cup of tea. For about 5 hours at your kitchen table, is what I remember. And we weren't going out and we hadn't said anything to each other. But because of all this stuff, we were sussing each other out. It was 5 hours of what's your goal in life?
I remember it starting we were both pretty convinced that we weren't trying to get into a relationship. We
were both we don't want to have a relationship right now.
Yeah, I was
that was the first point where we were I agree with that.
Yeah. 1, I was burnt, and 2, I was you know what?
True.
It's just a distraction right now. I need to keep going on my mission.
We're both no, we want to be focusing on our goals and our purposes. And, we need to be busy, and it's just, relationships are just distracting, and
But Do you remember that time where we did this and we wrote, I still think I have that piece of paper. We were in the garden at my old house and we wrote down, do you remember that list?
Yeah.
You don't
But
remember,
this was
do you?
afterwards.
Yeah, but it was either like, it was on after a couple of dates or something.
Oh, yeah. No, we were like super disciplined. We had like a week where I remember we went through this though, but without like telling each other.
Yeah.
So we were finding out goals, like really understanding like, what's the other person's like viewpoint and does it match mine? Is it in sync? Like, are we going to like work together or not? And I think that was when we both were like, whoa, like we're really way more in sync than we realized.
Yeah. But like, I think it's really important to give loads of examples on this, right?
Yeah.
So discover what's needed and wanted. So this can be like, how much time do you expect to spend with the other person? You know, some people think you have to spend the whole weekend together, or that outside of work, your time is exclusively for each other. In our case, it was like, there was almost no requirement on that. I think we were like...
It's almost like you have to... ours is more like we have to have a lot of freedom with that. Like, if you're going to be busy doing work stuff, that's fine.
Yeah, and like, one thing I would hate is like, let's say Kate was home every night at 6, and if I was like, said I'd be home at 7, and I wasn't home till 9, if that caused an upset, we would have troubles. Do you know what I mean?
Are you trying to say because you do that all the time?
No, just like, we have an agreement.
No, we're both like that though.
That like our careers, or there are certain things in our lives that are the priority, and we acknowledge that with each other. So if those things ever take our attention, like I know that even if I'd booked a meal at a certain time, a nice restaurant date night, and I had something really important come up and I couldn't make it, you wouldn't be upset, right?
No.
So
if it was my birthday.
Priorities is one thing. There's loads of stuff, right? Like, how often you expect to have sex.
No, it's true. Because some people are like, have quite different viewpoints on that. If you don't actually talk about it, then that can easily cause upset. Because I think a lot of people don't talk enough about that.
Yeah. Children.
Yeah.
Do you bring that up on the first date?
That's actually a bit intense.
But seriously, like, as much of this as you can air out without being like creepy and overbearing. Like, are your goals aligned? How much time do you expect to dedicate to your work? How much time do you dedicate to the relationship? How often do you expect to go on dates? Yeah,
exactly. And I think that the goals is really important because then it kind of, everything else tends to go around that. Yeah. Like if someone's super career oriented or they're self-employed and they're an entrepreneur and they're starting a business and they're going to be working flat out 6-7 days a week, like all the time. Yeah. And the other person's like, no, fixed schedule, 9 till 6 working, and then the rest of the time is at home and all that. And that's going to clash. Like that's not going to work. And I think that's why that's so important to really honestly have that conversation as well. Because I think sometimes people give a slightly different version of events.
Yeah, it has to be like, you got to be 100% transparent and open at this point. Anything that you do that's like a lie or hiding something or covering up is just going to affect your relationship later. This bit of like find out what's needed and wanted. So I would find out from her what's needed and wanted in a relationship, and she would do the same from me. And then we'd want to match that up. And if it doesn't match, it's like, no.
Yeah, if it's like fundamentals that don't match, then it's not. You could do it anyway, but it's one of those ones that will fall apart at some point.
This is where I think people go wrong. They're like, maybe it's 70% there, and then they're like, but
I really fancy them.
I'm really attracted to them, so I'm sure we'll iron out the other 30%, even though it's like you're going completely two different directions. Yeah. So that's really important. And then the fourth step's really simple. It just says, do, produce, and or present it. So if you say that, okay, one thing we are going to do to keep our relationship being created all the time is every Friday night is date night. Then you got to produce that.
Then you have to stick to it and do it.
And all the other things.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So that, I think, is a really, really good thing to do either really early in your relationship or even before you get into a relationship. Make sure that you apply this non-existence formula and that your needed and wanted, shall we say, matches up for both of you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And even if that takes a little bit of time, like it's not like in your first date you lay all your cards on the table. That might be a bit much.
Yeah, it's just all communication.
Yeah, because if you're friends with someone, you'll already know if some of the basic stuff's there. Yeah. And there'll be a reason why it's changed. But yeah, it's super useful. And then that means everything else gets really good because your base is so strong and your and like your agreement's so there that you can't get upset as easily with each other. And then when you do, you have like usually you have to calm it down first, but then you refer back.
You go
That's
back
why
to the agreement.
It's quite good to write it down, even if it feels a bit weird. Like I remember I was so contrived that I'm like writing all these requirements down from Charlie, and I need you to do this. But if you do it together and you've written it down, you can go back to it, and that's actually really useful.
Let us know if you guys try this. I'd love to hear if you guys have success in applying this. I know if you have any questions, you can send me a personal message or leave a comment. But I'd love to hear if it helps someone.
Yeah, I hope so.
See you guys.